the pool though. Now listen, there is some background music, so y'all let me know if I need to redo it. So this story time is about when I first ever found out what suppositories was, okay? So, I was in Atlanta, okay? And I was dating girls. Now, let me tell y'all know, I told y'all about when I tried to date girls, right? There was one girl I dated that I really liked, and then, you know, that fell off. And then after that, I kind of experimented a little bit and tried to find like another girl that I liked, but no, I didn't like girls. I just liked that girl, but we're gonna get there. So anyways, after that first little situation kind of went down the drain, for me, I was confused, right? I didn't know if I liked girls. I just knew like I have a dominant personality and I liked, you know, dominating bitches. So I had been like already chilling with girls, right? But I didn't like sleeping with girls, okay? Like we could cuddle, we could like kiss, but like I wasn't 100% all the way there. You get what I'm saying? Okay, cool. Now, this was just a little spurt. Okay, this was a little spurt in my life. This was not like nothing, okay? The only relationship that I'll say with a girl that ever I actually like felt like I had a girlfriend was the first one. After that, everybody else was a dub. All you bitches was ugh. Anyways, so I had been kind of like dating this one girl, okay? And with this girl, it's like she was like she was pretty, don't get me wrong, but also it's like she was also on araras around that time. You get what I'm saying? So I just think I was doing shit, y'all. I think I was just doing shit. But anyway, so, you know, with her, like, we both had kids, we both would chill a lot, but also she was very, like, in my opinion, what went wrong is she started competing with me, which that's why I couldn't be with bitches, because I would try to be with a girl, try to be cool, and then they would start competing. You get what I'm saying? Or they would get mad and start crying, like, you never put me on the money, you never make sure. And I said, look, I can't do this shit no more, but listen. So anyways, so one night, I tell the girl that I'm kind of, you know, messing around with. At this point, we hadn't, like, slept together. We, like, cuddled, watched movies and stuff like that. So me, it was like, with dating girls, it was like a friendship, but we would cuddle and, like, touch and rub on ass, you know? Nothing too crazy, though. Like, we wasn't just full-blown iking it, you know? When I say iking it, I mean it, okay? So anyways, one night, I tell her, I'm like, can we go to the store? Right? Because I wanted to try something I never tried before. Y'all, it was a time, okay? It was a time. So anyways, she's like, yeah, we can. And the one thing about this girl, she let me do whatever, okay? Literally, she, like, I could say that. It's like, even though there was no real feelings for her, for me, it was like, you gonna do whatever the hell I ask you to do, you know? So for me, I was like, can we try this? Mind you, the first girl I ever talked to and dated, like, that I actually say I cared about, she wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't ever want to do no shit like that with her. Like, we just cuddled and chilled and vibed, and we just had a different type of vibe. Any bitch after her, you was just there. You was just there for me to figure out what I was doing. But anyway, so I told her, can we go to the sex store? She's like, yeah, we can, whatever. So I told her, I was like, I've never a girl with a... Y'all, I swear to God. She was like, yeah, we can. Like, when I tell y'all, like, well, let me do whatever, okay? So we end up, you know, meeting up together, whatever, and I drive us to Tokyo Valentino. So we go in there, and I buy had a little thing on it, vibrator thing, right? And so it wasn't the one that, like, is a harness around you. It was kind of like, it wasn't a full harness, but like it had these things on it where it stayed on you. Okay, it stayed on you. Just know it stayed on you. Okay, so we went there or whatever, and of course, you know, it was nice, whatever. So we ended up going back to her house. So when we go to her house or whatever, you know, we turned on a movie, we chilling, whatever. And so, y'all, I've never did this before, so I'm not knowing how it's supposed to go. All right. So I end up like opening up and I put it on. Y'all, I put it on and literally, like, you know, I get on, you know, I put it on, I get on, okay? So the thing about it is the little harness thingy that it came with that wasn't a full harness, I didn't know how to use it. So it kept on coming off. So I just started using my, okay? And so from there or whatever, next part. Story time, part 2. So anyways, at this point we're in the bed. I done took it out, whatever. I tried to, the harness wasn't working, so I just tried to use my hand to do it, okay? So while I was doing that, like, she was in it. She was in, like, the mood, okay? Me, I wasn't, because it wouldn't stay on me. It wouldn't stay on me. So I just was like, you know what, I'll just do it with my, you know, my hand or whatever. So I'm doing it, and then I see, like, this grainy white stuff. Grainy. Not just, like, regular, but, like, grainy, right? So I'm doing it or whatever, and I see it, and I'm like, she was like, oh, I had a suppository, and I forgot about it, whatever. And I'm like, suppository? Like, you know? All I know is go to the doctor. So that's when she ends up telling me, like, it's boric acid. And so I was like, what do you use it for? Like, and she was like, well, I just, like, you know, if my pH is off, or if, like, you know, something's going on with her body or something like that, she inserts it, puts a panty liner down at night, and goes to sleep. And by the next morning, her pH is back together. So for me, at first, I was weirded out, y'all. I was weirded out because I was like, oh my God, it's dirty. But no, I educated myself. So I was like, so, like, you still go to the doctor and shit? And she was like, yeah. She was like, just like, you know, if my pH gets thrown off. And so with her, like, she had pretty much said that she would get, like, BV or whatever. And at that point, I wasn't educated how I'm educated now, okay? Now, mind you, this was years ago. So she had told me that. So even when she said that she got BV a lot, I was like, okay, like, the conversation, it's like she told me what it was, and I was like, okay, cool. So we stopped everything. Everything stopped, because at this point, I'm turned off. But mind you, we're high. You know what I'm saying? So she's still like, oh, come here. I'm like, no. Because in my head, I'm just not knowing. I'm not knowing what's going on with her. So, y'all, I end up telling her, like, oh, such and such called, I gotta go. I ended up leaving. Okay? Now, granted, it's like, I feel bad now because it was me not being educated on what suppositories were that made her feel like something was wrong. We ended up having a conversation about it or whatever and got through it. Mind you, it's like, for me, I left her house thinking like, oh, this bitch got some shit going on. Oh, she just da-da-da-da-da-da. She already letting me use a strap on her. She just be doing anything. That's what I'm thinking in my head. But then it's like, you know, you find out somebody uses something, you start looking it up. So I started looking it up, trying to find out what everything was, right? Next part. Story time, part 3. So at this point, I done left her house, okay? But I'm looking it up because now I'm scared. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like, for me, people will tell you stuff, but you can never just trust anybody. But when I looked up what a suppository was, and it like said, hey, you know, you use this, you know, when your pH is off, or, you know, there's all types of reasons you can use it. But girls mostly use it when their pH balance is off because it's something that instantly, you know, kind of fixes that a little bit, but it won't fix it for long. Go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. So anyways, at this point, like, she ended up texting me, like, did you get home or whatever? And I'm like, yeah. I'm kind of being cold shouldered because, like I said, I was not educated. If anything was ever wrong with me, I go to the doctor. I don't take no chances. So even, like, if there was ever a smell, anything like that, doctor. Okay, I ain't know what the fuck a BV, you know? So anyways, at this point, I end up looking into it, then I call my mama. I'm like, Mama, what's boric acid? She was like, you don't need to go to the doctor. I said, no, it's not for me. And I tell my mama what happened, and she was like, oh, and she told me, she educated me. She was like, you know, some girls use it for da-da-da-da-da. She gave me all the reasons, which pretty much mainly for when your pH balance is off, and girls use it if they struggle with BV. But if you have BV and you always get it, go to the doctor, okay? But anyways, what made me think of this story time, I'll go back to that in a second. But the funny thing about it, right? BV is normal. Girls do get it. You know, our bodies have different type of chemical. You can get a chemical imbalance. Like, any type of thing will give you BV, okay? It's not just from, it could be from sleeping with a nigga who's sleeping with a bunch of for sure, okay? When I met Star and she was selling these, I told her the story, and I was like, she was like, girl, that's so fucking crazy. And so I was like, she was like, I have those, right? Because for me, I was thinking that the chlorophyll drops, like, hey, what are these? She was explaining to me everything that she had sent to me. And so she was like, I have boric acid pills, but they're 600 milligram, which I guess 600 milligram is stronger than what they sell in Walgreens. So she was like, you know, they sell you these regular ones in Walgreens that, yeah, they help for a second or whatever. She was like, but, you know, of course, girls need to go to the doctor. But she told me, she was like, also with the ones that I have, they're a higher dosage. So even people who do struggle with BV, I guess it helps with that. Because when you go to the doctor, all they give you is an antibiotic anyway. You know, that's going to almost do the same thing as the boric acid. So anyways, what made me think of the story time is that when Star asked me, like, hey, you want to do a fresh doll box? I was like, yeah, I want to do a fresh doll box. What the fuck is a fresh doll box? And she was like, a fresh doll box, I want you to have a box, a fresh doll box, where you have products that you know, would recommend to young girls who don't know about their hoo-has. I was like, oh my God. And that's why I told her about the boric acid story time, because if I would have never had that situation, I would have forever in my life thought that that girl was just the dirtiest girl ever. Because why are you using these, you know? But a lot of girls that are younger, they don't know. You get what I'm saying? They don't know how to, you know. At the end of the day, yeah, always go to the doctor. Always go to the doctor to make sure. But a lot of girls do not know how to take care of themselves and take care of their hoo-has. But y'all gotta worry about it. The fresh doll box is supposed to drop next month. Period. It will have, you know, certain little products that I use with Sweet Cookie Wash, but I want to say this. If you're a girl and your pH balance is off and you do not know what boric acid suppositories are, okay, look them up, all right? Read everything you need to know about them. And then, if you feel like you need them, you can go get them from Sweet Cookie Wash. And then you can use my code, which is Fresh Doll, and you can get 600 milligrams suppositories instead of like the Walgreens ones, because the Walgreens apparently they ain't hitting on shit. But I just, you know, on my story times I try to educate the girlies and let y'all know, you know, what y'all could be doing, you know, to keep that cat right. Especially if you out here trying to escort or anything like that. Listen, you gotta make sure you keep that cat right and tight. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, so I want to give that story time to y'all because I had thought about it forever ago when I first linked with Star and Sweet Cookie Wash, and she had been telling me like, girl, that is funny as fuck. And I was like, yeah, but you know, I don't want to, and she was like, girl. So I was like, okay, fuck it. So yeah, but anyways, watch out for the fresh doll box. But also, if you are interested in suppositories, if you are a young girl who feels like you're struggling with your pH balance being off or anything like that, go over Sweet Cookie Wash, okay? You can get the little suppositories, 600 milligrams, and use the code FRESHDOLL. Anyways, that's all for story time today. Cute little quick cool story time I wanted to give to y'all. Bye, y'all. By the way, okay, this girl that I gave the story time on, by the way, I don't think none of y'all will find her. But just to be clear, okay, the girl in this story time is somebody that nobody knows of because it was never a public thing. We kind of just chilled in the house. It was not the first girl I ever dated. Y'all know who she is. Listen, first of all, that girl was the cleanest motherfucking girl, and that's why I liked her. That's why I liked her. I liked her because she was just so motherfucking clean, and she took care of herself. So when I dated these other girls afterwards, it's like none of them bitches could compare to just how put together and clean she was. I don't want no dirty bitch. I don't want no half-ass bitch. Period, point blank. But anyways, yeah, so I want to make that clear. It's not about her, all right? And I'm not going to tell y'all who it's about. Bye, y'all.